Welcome to the On Air Radio Show, the show that talks about anything and everything, where nothing is sacred, watered down, or PC. With your hosts, Joe Ruse, Big JP, Joey Drapes. Be part of the conversation and call us at 718-710-4578. That's 718-710-4578.
Hello, ladies and gents. Those of you on the On Air Radio Network, hello, how the hell are you? Those of you that are on Awake FM, howdy do?
AwakeRadio.us.
And those of you that are on Shizniznol, what is it? Shiziz. I got to get used to that one. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the On Air Radio Show, bringing you the best in politics, everyday topics, anything you want to talk about, we will talk about. Current events. You want to throw a topic at us, go right ahead. We have the chat room up on live stream and also on Awake Radio. There's a chat room there. Feel free to throw a topic at us if you'd like to discuss it. If you want to try to test your will with us, which I guarantee you will fail, call us up. Joe, phone number. You didn't give me my whiteboard.
Right behind you. 718-710-4578. That's 718-710-4578.
I don't see it. Good Lord.
We'll get it for you.
Yeah, well,
You have a hard time hearing?
Yeah, me too. I can't hear squat.
We're having board problems, folks. There we go. I can hear myself now.
Yeah, I think that's good too. Thank you, Papa Joe.
I'm going to get your board for you. Hold on.
Okay, guys, here we are.
Yes, I am your host, Big JP, and you heard the man, the myth, the legend, Joey Ruse.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the On Air Radio Show.
And Papa Joe, Joey Drapes.
I'm here too.
Well, Jay, we're going to have a pretty interesting show tonight. We have, just to say
The hell?
That was the computer here.
Oh.
Just to say that we have a guest that's going to be calling in at the 7:30 hour that I am excited to talk to on the radio. Somebody that I listen to very much. It's kind of like one of my two talk radio host heroes. He will be calling in. I'll tell you who it is later on. And also tonight on the On Air Radio Network, also AwakeRadio.us and Shiziz Radio, we have the premiere of Navigating the River Styx with TJ Sanfilippo. So when we're done, you don't have to turn us off. You can continue listening to the On Air Radio Network website. You can continue listening to Awake Radio for TJ's show, and TJ will be calling in a little bit later on to tell us what's going on with his show.
That is a great show, by the way.
Yeah.
I listened to it the other night, and it was fabulous.
It was a very good show.
TJ has a very interesting show. We'll put it that way.
Yes, we like TJ's show.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But for those of you that are into like supernatural and things like that, it'll be right up your alley.
The paranormal.
Yep, paranormal, supernatural, paranormal.
And we have a lot of stuff going on in the news.
Masturbation.
We had we had the DNC circus last week. Hillary had a few things to say. I have some pieces here that I printed out.
Lying Hillary. Soon to be indicted Hillary.
See you next Tuesday, Hillary.
The indictment I don't think is going to come anytime ever soon. So,
see that, ladies and gentlemen? That is what makes me go through this show.
I haven't got that on the camera.
Iced mocha. Yes, you do. I see it up on the big board.
For those of you who don't know Jay,
Tim Hortons.
For those of you who don't know Jay likes to talk over everybody. Jay has to be the loudest one in the room.
I always am.
Yeah.
So
even at parties.
One of these days, we're going to get a second board that we'll have some control over, and we'll be able to shut him down for a little while.
We get him off the
just
camera.
to keep him quiet.
On the camera.
It's the amount of, you got to understand, it's the amount of caffeine that I have in my system all day.
But Jay, today, I don't think it's that.
Oh, no, today was today's, yeah.
Today,
was good news.
Today, Jay got some great news, and I'm very excited for Jay, and I'm very happy to hear this.
Tell me about it. What is it?
So, Jay, why don't you share it with if you want to, share it with the rest of us. There's wonderful news you have.
Let's see. Well, for those of you that don't know, I am a 2-time cancer survivor. Yes, so, last 2 years ago, I had my second bout of cancer, large B-cell lymphoma, and it kind of whooped my ass there for a little bit, but I battled back and I beat it, and had a stem cell transplant, and 2 years removed, went to my primary oncologist today, and he gave me a clean bill of health, telling me that that he believes and feels that am fully cured.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
The only thing he said to me was, in order to stay that way, I got to lose weight because I'm a fat ass.
Is that why you're eating the Twinkies now?
No, you know what? My doctor tells me you got to lose weight. What do? I go out and get an iced mocha coffee
and
a box of no, not Twinkies, you tool.
What are they?
And a box of Munchkins.
Okay.
It's a 20-piece Munchkin.
Just as bad.
From Tim Hortons.
Oh, God.
Yep.
All right.
Leave it to me.
All right, so you're just celebrating today.
So
today's a very good day.
So today on, you're going to diet.
Woohoo!
Okay, that's good.
And just watch your language, please.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, you did.
What did I say? I called him a fat ass.
No, yeah, that's what you said.
Myself a fat ass.
That's what you said.
That's right.
You're not supposed to say that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, there is.
No, it is not, because ass is in the dictionary. Ha ha!
So are the other words.
So is fat, yes.
And no, so is the other words that you like to use so frequently and drop.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
There's the on-air broadcaster's dictionary.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
There's the dictionary for terrestrial radio, and there's 7 words you cannot say.
Well, let's see George Carlin, but the 7 dirty words.
Yeah, the 7 dirty words.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have had that clip. That would have been nice.
Oh, you don't want to play that?
We wouldn't be able to play it.
We would have to hit the beep button through the
whole thing.
It would
be beep, 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 beep,
It just would have been a whole load of beeps.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know. I can't even use Sheiky Baby, and that annoys me. I miss my Sheiky.
Well, that's why prior to going on the air, Jay goes through every foul sound drop that we have.
I think we all do.
And goes through it all. This way, he doesn't offend.
Get it out of my system.
And exactly, gets it out of his system. So we respect the wishes of our station hosts, especially at Awake and Shaziz, because they both do not want that language.
And I agree with them. We really should be doing a cleaner show.
Well, we have for 2 weeks now. That's a start.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I know.
But, and ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are frequent visitors of our show might have noticed that the intro was a little different because Alan is no longer with us.
Well, don't say it like that. It
sounds like he passed away.
Like he passed away.
Just Alan has a new job that he just can't make it here anymore. We do miss him, and hopefully maybe he'll just stop by and say hi once in a while.
His new job is masturbating on the couch and falling off.
Okay, Jay.
All right, Jay. Well, glad to see you're feeling good.
I'm feeling great.
So that's just wonderful. We're gonna have to cut you off from this and
I
take this
think
away
so.
from you.
Yeah, you got a dump button for him.
We need a dump button for Jay.
Yeah.
No, you know what you guys need? You guys need like
this is gonna be the shortest stint any radio show had on awakeradio.us and Shaziz Radio if Jay keeps going the way he's going.
You know what you need from me? You remember in Austin Powers, Dr. Evil had the switchboard, and he pushed the button, and then the floor would open, and the seat would fall back. And
there you go.
Yeah, that's what you need.
That's definitely what we need.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm going to install that next week.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Maybe a little electric shock or something
I just want some sharks with freaking lasers on their head.
Okay.
The freaking laser.
Love that movie.
You need that for a sound drop.
Yeah. The freaking lasers on there.
So anyway, what did the Donald do this week?
What didn't the Donald do this week?
Good
Lord.
He yelled at a woman with a crying baby. He took a Purple Heart off a World War II veteran.
He didn't take it off of him.
You're right. I'm acting like the media now.
He fondled it.
Yeah. No.
Can I see your medal?
Yeah, a World War II
Turn your head and
veteran, out of respect, gave his Purple Heart to Donald Trump, who, he's the worst speaker. He has no eloquence. I mean, he could have been so gracious in taking that medal and made such a nice speech, praising the World War II veterans. What does he say? What did he say? Oh, I always wanted one. Oh, gee, thanks. This was the easy way to get it.
The only thing his money couldn't buy.
Oh God!
And you know, Joe,
Yeah.
and that's a good lead into what we were talking about earlier. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It's kind of handed over to me right before the show. Some of these stories going on, and Jay and I spoke, before the show started too.
Oh, is this from the phone call?
Yeah, about these stories about the GOP's in a panic about Donald Trump
I can't-
supposedly backing out of this election.
Well,
the race.
let's clarify that a little bit. They're actually preparing if he decides to back out. He might have threatened them. He's that kind of way. He's so unpredictable.
It's my way or the highway with Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And if they keep breaking his chops about he. I don't think he walked
Right.
after putting all this effort into it.
Right,
But,
and ABC News and Fox News and some other news outlets are playing this story over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But if you really read the story, it's a what if scenario.
Sure.
It's not that nobody officially said anything about it. And listen, don't forget, folks, I am not a shill for Donald Trump.
Wow.
I do not have a horse in this race. Our guest who's calling in later will back me up on this one. I am not planning a vote in this election. And we'll get into that later on, Jay.
Well, this fits into my conspiracy theory, where I think that Hillary and Donald got together before the election and said, Donald, you're going to get the nomination, and then you're going to drop out this way I could win. And you're going to say such outrageous things, nobody will ever vote for you. I think they have not for nothing, they're kidding around a little bit, but that's what Bill Clinton did with Ross Perot. He split the Republican vote. Ross Perot and Clinton got in.
Well, Ross Perot split the vote
The Republican
on his
vote.
right. Yeah. You said the other way around.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's
don't let it happen again,
I
Joe.
split an infinitive there. So,
You left a dangling
so
participle.
yeah. My participle is if you know
Yeah,
how
be
dangling,
careful with that,
yeah,
right?
it's
Watch
very
it.
painful, the dangling participle.
All right.
Go ahead, Jay.
Okay.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard.
Oh,
Now, besides that,
He's been dying to play these drops.
Oh, God.
I wait every week for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, you know what? Donald Trump is his own worst enemy.
Yes, he is.
He is his own. He can't get out of the way of himself.
Yes, he is.
And that's the biggest issue with him.
Politics has to be in some way or form scripted. It really does have to be scripted. But Donald Trump was taking it to the realm of reality show, which he's very good at. Obviously, I mean, he's beat out 17 candidates. He's the nominee of the Republican Party against all odds. So, maybe we're the crazy ones and he knows what he's doing.
This show you could compare to Donald Trump. That's how we are. We are the Donald Trump of internet radio.
You think so, huh?
Not scripted, and we say what we want. There you go.
Say all the wrong things, yeah.
That's it.
Excuse me while I go kick a dog.
So for those of you who are confused as heck is what we're talking about here, so ABC News apparently dropped this bombshell that Trump might drop out of the 2016 race. John Karl, the article says, John Karl, chief White House correspondent for ABC News, has reported that Republican leaders are actively exploring, in quotes, contingency plans in the event that Donald Trump drops out of the presidential race. The news comes in the wake of what is perhaps the most erratically unpredictable few days in the famously turbulent Trump campaign,
Yeah.
in which the Republican presidential nominee and his campaign has insulted veterans, loved ones of slain soldiers, victims of sexual harassment, top Republican leaders, and even a baby in a little over 24 hours. That's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, and it's only in 1 week.
Yes,
I
Eddie,
mean, I
you
think if
rang
you
your
put
bell?
if you put together all the things,
The only thing he didn't do was offend dogs and religious groups in this
well,
one.
he has something to do next week. He has offended the Muslims constantly.
He's got to space it out between now and November.
Sure, he's running out of people to insult.
And just to go further with it, just to say in an email, Trump campaign spokesperson Hope Hicks wrote, quote, there is no truth to this whatsoever.
I'm sure there isn't. They're supposed to be having a strategy meeting tonight or tomorrow with Newt Gingrich, Christie.
Newt.
And all the top Republican Trump supporters.
Will ineligible Ted Cruz and ineligible Marco Rubio be there?
Well, no, they won't be there. But these guys are supposed to, try to tone Trump down to get him to. Even his daughter is supposed to be there.
Hey, our one fan is listening in. Thanks, Keith.
Yay! All right, question.
Okay.
Has Trump? Is Trump a registered Democrat, Republican?
I think he has to be to run on the
Is
Republican
that why
ticket.
he ran under the Republican ticket? Or because I mean, he said not in so many words, but he did say that he'd have no problem running under the independent if he had to.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if he is a registered Republican, or did he just run under the Republican Party just because? I was always curious. I mean, I'm not a big political person, and I've said that from the start. This is actually, at 37, this is the first election that I've actually been following. And only because I have to, because I got this radio show.
Well,
otherwise, I'd be watching.
We have this radio show.
We have this radio show. Yeah.
It's always better
I
if
mean,
you're going to run for major office. Be part
I'd be
of a
watching
major
porn
party.
instead.
They have a machine in place that with people and electives and to get the word out and not that Trump is so rich he could get his own people going, but it takes time to organize all this crap. And the Republican Party, quote unquote, is organized to an extent. But I think this campaign is doing for the Republicans and the Democrats is revamping their parties. Their parties will never be the same after this election.
And I kind of agree with Donald Trump in the fact that like he said that he's hinting that November will be rigged. And I haven't.
That's his cop out if he loses. If he wins, he's going to say, "Well, we changed the system."
Yeah, but you know what? I do have a feeling that in some ways it's got a rig to it.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Listen, dude, this country has been bought and paid for a long time ago.
100 times over.
Right.
I think
there is nothing. There's nothing about. You know what? I'm going to hold that. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, if Trump gets elected,
Speak.
No, I have to formulate it better. Go ahead.
All right, if Trump gets elected, his main problem is going to be he's used to being a businessman. When he says jump, everybody goes how high because he pays everybody, he employs these people. He is the big cheese. It's not that way when you're in a political office. We have an adversarial system here where if he says black, they're going to say white regardless. So he's going to be fought on every. And I don't think he's used to that. You can see by his Put my mic on! You don't stop that crap. I'm going to take
I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah?
It was an accident. That was total accident. I'm serious.
And
I'm going to accident you right off the board in a minute.
It was a total accident. I just happened to hit the keyboard.
Okay.
I was going to say to Joe, actually, to Joey Drapes, do you feel that if Trump was in office, your opinion, do you feel that if Trump was in office, we'd be in a better place or we'd be worse?
Well, that's the whole thing.
Or do you feel with Hillary we'd be in a better place or worse place?
With Hillary, you pretty much know what you're getting. You're going to get
a liar.
You're getting 4 more years
cheater.
of Obama. You're getting the Democratic rule, which will be the status quo. It ain't going to rule the country, but it ain't going to,
Sure it will.
Well, it ain't going to help us. Let's put it that way. Trump is the great unknown. It really is. It's the great unknown. He could be the best thing since sliced bread, and he could be the worst thing. He could put us in World War III.
Donald Trump is the Antichrist.
That's funny because he says that about Hillary.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what?
Who knows? It's a real tough election this year.
It is a tough election, and the thing is that nothing is going to change, no matter who is elected. And I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Donald Trump can talk about all the change and all the things he wants to do and all the things he's going to do and all the things he's going to try to do, but nothing is going to change. It really isn't. Nothing is going to change. Donald Trump, I understand why his message resonates with a lot of people because he shoots from the hip.
Well, it's out of frustration too.
Right.
There hasn't been change in this country since FDR.
And FDR changed the country for the worse.
It's a matter of opinion. There is Social Security under FDR. He did get us out of the Depression. Of course, he put us in World War II.
Actually, I don't think FDR brought us out of the Depression. I think he made it worse. I think the president after him actually got us out of the Depression.
Well, no, there was. Well, after FDR came a little bit of Truman, and then Ike came, and after Ike was prosperous times. Ike was, forget about it. All the guys were coming home from the service. Everybody was buying houses, cheap houses in Leathertown. It was a good time. Jobs, everybody they were working, building roads. Forget about it. There were so many public work projects when Eisenhower was in. Because when he went over to Germany and saw the Autobahn, he almost came in his pants. He says, "We got to get this going." And he started building all these interstate highways, kept everybody working. That's what got us out of the Depression.
Okay.
I feel that
I was there.
yes, you were alive when George Washington was president.
I was, guys. Let me tell you something.
Joe rode the Brontosaurus to school every day.
Yeah.
Joe was one of those people that wrote on the Constitution. He signed the Declaration of Independence, and his was in invisible ink.
No, it's true. We came out of World War II, the biggest fish in the pond. So it's just we were an untouched country. Europe was, forget about it. They were shot.
I feel that with Trump, though, in some ways he's going to deliver what he says. I think jobs will become more plentiful.
I think he'll try, that's for sure.
I think he'll try more than the current president, who all he cares about is the black image of himself and
bombing people.
No, and continuing to disgrace the country.
He's just bombing.
He doesn't care
to just bolster his macho image.
Were you aware that yesterday the U.S. government launched another round of airstrikes in Libya?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Well, somebody's got to get rid of this ISIS.
And of course, Hillary Clinton wants to bring 65,000 more Muslims into the country.
Right.
Yeah.
But my question is, where did he get authority to do that?
He's the president.
That doesn't matter.
He's the commander-in-chief.
It doesn't matter.
He controls the army.
It does not. No, he does not.
Yes, he does.
No.
Yes, he does. He gives the orders.
Congress,
they do it.
Congress shall have power to declare war, grant letters of marque of reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water.
There's the catch. There's no war been declared.
Exactly.
If you read the Gulf of Tonkin resolution,
it
gives the War Powers Act to the president.
It's another undeclared, unjust war.
No, it's not.
Of course.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
How do you say it's not?
Because they're bombing ISIS. That's what they're trying to get rid of. So continue to bomb. Level it, make it a friggin' parking lot for all I care.
No, Joe's right when he says it's an undeclared war. It is
undeclared. I get, but useless. No.
So if it's undeclared, but if it's undeclared, then that means it's illegal. That we're not to be doing this thing unless he goes before Congress and gets the authorization to do it.
Well, that's not true.
I don't care.
The War Powers Act is only a temporary power. It's not a long-term thing.
It's in effect. It came back. Lyndon Johnson had that passed during the Gulf of Tonkin resolution, and
they're not even citing that one.
There.
They're citing the War Powers Act of 2001.
Well, it's there. He has the power. It's the law. Well, unfortunately, no one likes to kill human beings, but that's the way it is.
Evidently, the Muslims do.
Yeah, exactly. What do? Sit on your hands? You got to try and do something.
I
agree with you again. He's only trying to do this because it's an election year. He's trying to show he's a strong president. So But the truth of the matter is, he's done nothing for 8 years as far as ISIS is concerned.
He's done nothing. He's been useless for 8 years. He hasn't even created much in the way of jobs.
He got lucky by killing Osama bin Laden and brought his numbers up a little bit.
That's if he actually did.
Yeah.
He didn't even create any jobs. The job market's been at what? Unemployment's been at like 2% for the last 8 years.
Yeah,
or 4%, something like that.
And the economy
hasn't
zero
changed.
growth.
I'm sorry, Jay. What has been?
Unemployment. The unemployment rate
has been stuck at what?
Like it's either 2 or 4%.
That's more than that.
Since
it depends on the area. On some areas, as much as 7%. But depends on.
But I'm just saying, the point is that he hasn't done anything to rectify that situation. The only thing he did that I have to say, which was a positive, was the proposed income increase, the minimum wage increase for America. It's about the only thing that I get. Other than that, he's useless as tits on a bull.
Yeah, and you talk about the minimum wage increase. That's really not a very viable thing. I mean,
no,
to do. I mean,
look, like this year, you're on Social Security, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're a Social Security recipient, as am I.
Yeah.
There was no cola increase this year. Why? Because Obama cut it.
Well,
For those of you that don't know, cost of living increase, cola.
yeah. That's a Coca-Cola.
Yeah, not Coca-Cola.
Well,
Cost of living
whatever.
adjustment.
Yes, thank you.
Well, looks like we are coming up on our first break already.
Yes, we are.
Check that out.
By the way,
we went through a whole half hour.
I found Hillary's new DNC song. Are you ready?
A DNC song?
Are we ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
And then we'll go to break.
Yep.
That makes me feel so strong and so powerful.
Put the fader up a little bit, Jay.
You feel so lucky. But your ego obscures reality and you never bother to wonder why things are going so well. You want to know why?
Here's Hillary, right here. She should come out to that every time.
Oh, my goodness.
I would vote for her just if she had the balls to walk out to that. I swear to God, I would vote for her. If she came out to Henry Rollins' Liar for her every speech that she did, I would vote for her just for that. Just for having the balls to admit that she's a liar. And she's got it. I'm just saying. I think that would be great.
Poor Hillary, she's a politician. That's what politicians do. They lie
Yep.
to you.
Well, folks, this is
Where are
this is the on-air radio show. We're here with Big JP. JP has to interrupt again. Go ahead.
Sorry. Just to clarify, you were right. The unemployment rate is a little higher than 4. It's 4.9% as of June of 2016.
Right. And
So we don't have July or August numbers
and
yet.
That is.
Now, when did Obama come into office?
8 years ago.
2008. In 2008, it was 5.8. At the highest, it was 9.5, which was 2009.
Right.
This is all in the month of July.
Uh-huh. If you look at, but if you look at
The highest it was ever was 9.9 in 2010, and that was April.
Yeah, if you actually go into, I think the Department of Labor Statistics, they also include numbers.
That's where I am. Bureau of Labor
Yeah,
Statistics.
there's something in there that shows, people who actually gave up. The actual real unemployment number is significantly higher than what
I would
said.
definitely say it's.
Because people give up, they stop looking.
Yeah.
And they don't get counted in the numbers.
It says here that in June of 2016 it was 4.9. I would venture to say it's probably more like 5.5, 6%, something like that.
It might be even higher than that.
Yeah, you think that high?
If,
wow.
if you take in consideration the number of people who are not actively looking for work, yeah.
No, I'm just saying the unemployment rate. I'm not taking the people that are living off of welfare.
No, I'm
and
not
things
talking about
like
that either.
you know.
I'm talking about people who have been looking for work and have given up because they can't find anything.
Huh. Well, because they make it almost impossible.
Yep. Well, again,
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I just wanted to clarify that for those of you that were curious.
Right.
But go ahead. Let's go to break. You want to take us out or you want me
Yeah,
to?
I got it.
go ahead.
So this is the On-Air Radio Show. My name is Joe Ruse. We're here with Big JP and Joey Drapes. And you can check us out on onairradionetwork.com, awakeradio.us. And we will be back after these.
Shizzes.
They don't have a website that I know of.
Oh, okay.
So, in Shizzes Radio. And we'll be back shortly with our guest.
Hey, everyone. This is Big JP from the On Air Radio Show. Give us a shout at 718-710-4578. Join in the conversation. Don't just sit back and listen. Be a part of the show.
Are you a small business owner looking for a place to invest your advertising dollar? Why not advertise with an up-and-coming live internet radio show? The On-Air Radio Show is looking for segment and show sponsors. Visit onairradioshow.com to learn about the options available to you. That's onairradioshow.com.
Hey there, this is TJ Sanfilippo, and I want you to join me as we navigate the river Styx. Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the OnAirRadioNetwork.com and AwakeRadio.us. Let me be your guide as we traverse forbidden waters of our hidden history, the paranormal, conspiracies, and the bizarre. Until then, keep the candles burning brightly, the lights on, the darkness at bay, and stay safe.
Okay, guys, break time is over. Now let's get back to work. It's the On Air Radio Show live from the dungeon. Only on OnAirRadioshow.com.
Yowza! We are back.
Jazz music.
I feel like I'm in an elevator.
I love that music.
Like here,
Ooh, baby.
Boogaloo Joe Jones, brown bag.
Love it.
sugar.
Joe's like, where do you find this stuff?
I love this music. This is really cool, man.
That's the stuff, brother.
Anyway,
that is the stuff, no doubt about it.
That's right.
our the show on for those of you that listen to us, you know that we are on New Network, also simulcast on Awake Radio. At 8:30, we got TJ Sanfilippo with Navigating the River Styx.
Yeah.
And you heard his promo there. And TJ, if you're listening, you should go out and go for the Crypt Keeper's position, because you have that creepy, like that promo was very creepy. I liked it. Personally, I thought it was great, but
we're actually going to have it again on the second break without
either
the
that or you should go and create like Halloween themes based on your voice.
Well, TJ,
you'd make a ton of money off of it.
TJ is going to be calling in the last segment to let us know what's going on with his show, and we will we'll hear from him directly, which would be great. So. Here we are, with the second half of the show, and we have a very special guest who's like I told you before, he is no doubt about one of the two heroes of mine in talk radio.
Yeah.
And he is the host of a talk radio program that airs on the Veritas Radio Network on it's VeritasRadioNetwork.com, and his name is Mark Kreslins, and I'm going to bring him in appropriately this way.
The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. The very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Kreslins. How you doing, brother?
Hey, good to hear you, Joe. I'm doing just fine, and I'm wondering, though, what the heck did you get me into talking to a bunch of downstate New Yorkers?
Well, you are definitely treading in foreign grounds, especially coming from Oklahoma.
Well, more
The
importantly,
OKC.
especially coming from upstate New York, we always had an axe to grind with you guys down there, sucking all of our tax dollars out of our hard work in Syracuse.
There you
Only
go.
to dump it down there in Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah, definitely. So, Mark.
So, anyways, it's an honor to be with you guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you,
I
sir.
tell you are my Morpheus, man. I gotta tell you are my Morpheus.
Yes.
I played the clip that you use at the opening of your show every day, and there's a reason why I played it, and I was wondering if you could explain that.
Well, I really think there's a lot of truth behind it. You know, let's read real quickly what old Morpheus tells Neo there. The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside it, you look around and what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, the people are still part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will actually fight to protect it. The system, in my view, is this, what I call on my show, the bipartisan corrupt, morally bankrupt, de facto versus de jure, illegitimate, evil government occupying the 10 square miles of swamplands we affectionately refer to as Washington, D.C., of which there is what is in true form a national government and not a federal government. There's merely a national government there masquerading as a federal government. And so the system, if you can pinpoint it to anything, in my view, is what comes out of that bipartisan, morally bankrupt national masquerading as a federal government. And people are squarely plugged into it. They really believe this is the way it has to be. It just has to be. Whatever Washington, D.C. says, we all genuflect and we bow before it, and we accept it, even if it's even if it's a morally repugnant act that they're passing. For example, let me just give you a couple of quick ideas here. Back in 1776, most people will recall a little document that was penned by Thomas Jefferson and the Committee of Five, we refer to as the Declaration of Independence. Two of the claims of the founding generation as to why they needed to secede from hashtag the American Union related to very things we're struggling with today. One of them was that the king and parliament was imposing taxes on them without their consent. That's listed right in the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
One of the other reasons, they had 27 of them total, one of the other reasons was that the king has erected multitudes of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. Well, what better way than to use those words to describe Washington, D.C.? There's a certain reality here that they decided to secede from England based on 27 of them. These are just two of them, two that we're experiencing right now.
Wow. And actually, Mark, you brought up a good point, because I've actually used that same argument with other folks. If you look at the list of grievances that are in the Declaration of Independence, you could see a mirror of what we're dealing with here today. And
worse, I would say.
Oh, by far worse. I mean, the government is so far-reaching, so overreaching into your personal lives. It's ridiculous. I mean, why do they need to? Why does the federal government need to regulate how much water is in my toilet bowl?
Right. Exactly. Well, this is the system. This is what Morpheus is referring to. This is the matrix.
Right.
And unfortunately, most people are still plugged into it. I used to be myself, as I talk about on my show, Joe. In the past, I used to work on Capitol Hill as a senior legislative assistant to two members of Congress. I was there. I was part of the bipartisan, corrupt, morally bankrupt national government. I will tell you that having worked up there on Capitol Hill in Congress, I can assure you with great authority that it is a massively corrupt entity. Massively. But how could it not be in one sense? I mean, when you think about this, we're running $4 trillion through those 10 square miles of swamplands there. $4 trillion. That's a ton of money. And how could we even imagine that it couldn't be corrupt? Now, of that $4 trillion, $3 trillion is sucked out of the average American's hardworking paycheck every 2 and 4 years and sent there. And then they borrow somewhere near $1 trillion every year just to pay for day-to-day operations. And I heard you guys earlier in the show talking about Social Security, that sacred program that, of course, has no constitutional authority whatsoever to have been passed. But nevertheless, here we are funding general operations in the 90s from the excess in that. And now we are borrowing money to pay those Social Security benefits. So the system, people are plugged into. I think Morpheus has it right in that statement. There are so many people that are inured by it, so hopelessly dependent on the system, they will actually fight to protect the system. They'll fight against any real substantive changes versus sophomore changes that come out of the Republican Party and the Democrat Party.
Jay?
Do you think that's why Donald Trump won't get elected? Because he might bring the change or some sort of a change to the way the government is run?
Well, Donald Trump, obviously, everybody's saying, and I heard you guys say it, he is a fascinating character in politics right now. We've never seen a guy like this emerge, who will say the things he will say as inartfully and inarticulately as he does, but I think that's part of just who Trump is. Can he change it? The question then becomes, as you ask, can he change it? Well, there again, we have to go back to the Constitution and what powers were delegated to the president in Article 2 of the Constitution. As you peruse Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, you'll see that he really doesn't have power to do anything that he says he's going to do. But neither
nobody
does
trusts
Hillary.
the president.
Well, why would you at this point? Exactly. Is that Joe or Joey or
No, that's
Jay?
Jay.
No, that's Jay.
Jay, I'm with you. Why would you trust any of these guys at this point? And notwithstanding the fact that Trump is a fascinating character to watch, myself personally, I am going to be writing into my ballot down here in Oklahoma that I do not consent to this system of government. I'm going to be actually following in the footsteps of the founding fathers by saying I don't consent to this because I don't. Part of that's because I don't trust any of them, but part of them, there's just facts on the tables we have to deal with, guys. We're near $20 trillion in debt. How are we going to pay that? I mean, you could seize every bit of gross domestic product in hashtag the American Union. I use hashtag on my show all the time about the American Union because I'm trying to tie it to the European Union, of which Great Britain, as you probably all know, seceded from the European Union June 23rd of 2016. So I'm trying to get people to think about hashtag the American Union since we're not a nation. We're a union. It stipulates that right in the preamble to the U.S. Constitution. It doesn't say there to form a more perfect nation. It says to form a more perfect union. So, how could you both trust these guys and ignore the realities of what these guys have done? And honestly, to be completely frank and serious about this, we have been complicit in that because we've refused to change the system of government. We've refused to see that, number one, it's bipartisan, corrupt, and morally bankrupt. So how do we know that? Well, we're $20 trillion in debt. That means they have found a way to suck $20 trillion out of future generations. Well, let's apply some kind of moral standard to that. Well, I suspect most of you guys in the show here have some children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. Guess who's picking up that tab?
Mm-hmm.
They are. We stuck them with it. Well, how moral is that? I mean, imagine if I kicked the bucket today, and I'm in my late 50s, heading into my 60s. Imagine if I kicked the bucket today, and I have some clause in my will that says, oh, hey, Jennifer and Natalie, Caitlin and Trent, you guys are stuck paying my credit card bills. Well, people would look at me and say, well, how moral of a guy was that? He stuck his children. He went out and took a vacation to Europe just before he croaked, and now his kids have to pay for it.
Right.
Well, how is that any different than the $20 trillion we dumped on these kids? Let's talk about the undeclared wars that are constantly occurring ever since World War II, when we had our last actual declaration of war, where Congress actually debated it.
We were just talking about that before you called in, Mark.
Excuse me one second.
Yeah,
Can I just interject for a second here, Mark? You were
Yeah,
saying
no,
about
sorry.
no, I just wanted to say, you were saying about the deficit being $20 trillion in debt. I made the reference a couple of shows ago that people complained when Mayor Bloomberg was in office, and yeah, he micromanaged and things like that. But what he did was he got New York City out of debt by treating it like a business. Mm-hmm. And that's why I would vote Trump in, only because he would run the United States like a business, the way it should be, in my eyes, run. It's a business.
I get you, and that is honestly that's his popular appeal. He comes from a very business-oriented background. He is not, as you guys have talked about in the beginning of your show, he's not a politician. He doesn't even know how to do it. And you're right; people are going to try to get him to be more political. He's going to resist that. I was talking about on my show this morning. You guys have been to whatever degree you follow politics. Historically, during a presidential campaign, the president is able to the presidential candidate is able to moderate to the center and become more statesman, look more like a president, and then they bring on the vice president to kind of be the bulldog. He's the one who hits the opposing presidential candidate. On the Republican campaign, it's exactly the opposite. Trump is the bulldog. He's out there throwing punches all day, and then Mike Pence has to come behind and kind of clean up Trump to center, or at least attempt to do that. It's completely different than what any of us are familiar with. So, but I think that's the appeal of Trump, is that because he's not a politician, he comes from this business background, he's been wildly successful, obviously. People are going to look at him and say, Jay or Joe, exactly what you just said, is that he may be like a Bloomberg and come in and clean up the problem, but the problem with that is really just and it's not nobody's fault. I get why this happens. It's a lack of understanding how Congress works. Congress is never going to be bullied by a president. They just aren't. They're little megalomaniacs up there. I'm telling you, I know these guys. I used to walk the halls of Congress. I was involved in writing legislation. Absolutely. I was involved in helping cast a vote on the House floor by telling my boss how to vote because he couldn't track all the legislation up there. These committee chairmen are they have little fiefdoms, and no president is going to boss them around. For example, you will remember Ronald Reagan, the great communicator, right? We all knew him to be the great communicator. That's one of his legacy points.
Right.
He was able to connect with the American people. During his campaign, he made a pledge that he was going to do two things. He was going to end the Department of Education and end the National Endowment for the Arts. Remember the whole Piss Christ thing that was going on? And
yes, I remember that.
All the money. Remember all that?
Yeah.
Well, how successful was the great communicator?
Not very.
Not at all. And this is, here's you got one of the most popular presidents, one of the greatest communicators, and he was unable to get Congress to end a little tiny $100 million agency called the National Endowment for the Arts. He couldn't even get that ended. So as much as Trump would use the bully pulpit, probably in some cases more effectively than Reagan would have, those chairmen up there, Donald Trump is not going to boss those chairmen around. People just don't understand how it works up there. And I
agree with you.
Sounds like.
This is Joe, and I agree with you, Mark. I totally agree with you. And you look at we have the Republican-controlled Senate, we have a Republican-controlled Congress, and they cannot get anything done.
Absolutely.
They can't repeal Obamacare. They hold the power of the purse. They can shut down anything they need to shut down, and they just refuse to do it. And it was like that also when George Bush was president, and you had both houses. They just refuse to do this. They refuse to actually act upon the powers that they're endowed with.
The question then arises, which is the lesser of the two evils, the bully or the liar and the cheat? That's where it comes down to when it comes to voting. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, which one is the lesser of the two evils? The guy, Donald Trump, who most people would consider to be a jerk, or the liar and the cheat, which is Hillary. So it's the lesser of the two evils to me is Donald Trump. I get that he won't get bullied, but you know what I could see him having where him and Congress are going to have a lot of problems if he got elected would be, I noticed a lot of times when they write into law, there's always that little itty bitty rider that nobody knows about at the end of the signature, that there's some other law that's passed that nobody had a clue was even on the floor. I could see him being like, oh no, I don't want this in there.
You're talking about pork.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is the appeal of Trump. He is going to be unorthodox in how he would execute the office of the president. He's very unorthodox. He would challenge the status quo, the conventional processes up there. The question then becomes, though, fundamentally, will he succeed at it? My personal view is that the system is fundamentally broken, and we have to think differently about the problem, because you're thinking along the lines of what most other people are at this point, especially those who are torn between lying Hillary or an enigma of Donald Trump. Who would he really be? They're torn, and so inevitably you end up at this lesser of two evils position. I get it. It's been a popular concept out there for decades. My point is, I don't want to vote for evil, number one, at all. I just don't want to vote for it. And I'm not actually trapped in a voting requirement. So in other words, there's nothing in the Constitution that makes me vote. And so when I begin with the premise that I don't accept that this is a legitimate system of government, well, now that frees me up to consider alternative voting habits that I have had over the past few elections. I have arrived at the point where I don't even on my show, even though I have to pay attention to politics, national politics. I call it the national election circus. I have to pay attention to it because it's out there. You know, you can't, as a talk show host, you guys know this as well as anybody else.
You can't avoid it.
If you drift off, yeah, you can't. You just can't. You got to deal with it. But I use it to highlight what my premise is. The system of government we have is illegitimate. It's evil. And I'm not going to legitimize it with my vote. Instead, I'm going to take whatever influence I have and apply it to real solutions to the problems we face versus the sophomoric ones. Because it won't matter. And you guys probably, my guess is I'm going to say this, and you guys are probably going to agree. On January 20th of 2017, no matter who is sworn into office, whether it's Trump or Hillary, the government is going to be, as a result of that swearing in, still bigger, still more powerful, and still more in debt. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who's really at the helm. And our system of government really doesn't have a king kind of person that can just dictate, at least it's not supposed to have that, and who can just dictate terms to a legislative branch. But at the end of the day, we probably all intuitively know whoever's sitting in that office in January of 2017, it won't matter. The government's on autopilot. It's, we don't argue actually over cutting the budget. You know what the big debate in Congress is now? Cutting the rate of growth of federal spending. That's what the big argument. This debate comes down to: do we want to increase spending by 8% or just 4%? It's not about reducing the budget at all. And there's all kinds of data points out there on that. So when I come to the lesser of two evils argument, I hear it regularly, and I understand it. I don't heavily critique people who are in that camp. I suggest myself personally, I'm not going to vote for evil at all. Here in Oklahoma, there's no place in the universe by which Oklahoma doesn't go completely for Trump. There's no chance. There's zero, and I mean zero. There's -0 chance Oklahoma goes for Hillary. That ain't ever going to happen. Mm-hmm. So my vote, even here in Oklahoma, doesn't really matter. It's going to go heavily Trump. New York, and let me ask you guys this. Does Trump put New York into play at all? Does he force Hillary to spend money there?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Trump is fairly strong in New York because of what he's done in New York, all the people he employs in New York. He really has a big following in New York. And he's done things in New York. I'll give you the Woolman Ring, for instance, that a few years ago, the city had spent millions of dollars on research on how to rehabilitate the Woolman skating rink. Trump came in, and in 2 weeks he had the job done for under $100,000.
Wow.
And New Yorkers remember that stuff. I was during the Koch administration.
Really?
Yeah. And other thing, I mean, you go around New York. Trump's name is just about on every building you see in New York. These monumental towers. So he's considered quite a popular figure in New York. Yeah.
But is he more popular in Manhattan or the other? That's
true. I really couldn't say that for sure. But I know you talk about Manhattan. If he ran for mayor, he would be mayor of New York.
Easily.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And that has
don't you think he's going to carry upstate New York?
I mean, not to be mayor. Governor.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
You guys don't care. I know. Wait a minute. Let me fill in the blank. You guys don't care about upstate New York. We understand.
Who cares about them?
We fully understand.
They're like on an island of their own.
I don't know about
compared
that.
To with New Yorkers, they're on an island of their own.
It's sad, but it's true. It's almost like two entities. Upstate New York is one. My brother lives in Albany, and he'll say this all the time. He says, we're like forgotten up here. Where he is, especially up in Syracuse, where you guys
tell him to live in Staten Island.
Staten Island, a forgotten borough.
The armpit of the 5 boroughs, Staten Island.
Yeah, you got Manhattan and every place else. That's what it's
I
all
think
about.
that Donald Trump throughout the 5 boroughs pretty much has a solid lead, I would say.
Wow.
Or I would feel. I think that even with this Trump University scandal that's going on, and this what's that Khan guy's thing going on with the person who was shot, the father.
Yeah.
I think even through those scandals, they fail in comparison to how people feel about Hillary and her scandals.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely. Hillary's
I think that's
responsible for the death of people.
Yeah. Benghazi and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that leans that's what if the actual like I'm just one of those guys. I'm your average Joe. I don't follow politics that much.
I hate those terms.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, Joe.
Okay, I'm just your average guy.
Thank you.
I don't follow politics that much, and like I said in the beginning of the show, this is the first year in 18 years since you're able to vote. That in my 18 years since I've been able to vote, that I've actually been following politics, and mostly because we have this show, and I have to.
Fair enough.
Other than that, I really, me personally, I could care less who's running for president because it's just the way I feel. There's nobody that's ever trustworthy. There's nobody that I can ever look to and say, hey, you know what? That's a guy who's going to change the way the system is. He's going to buck the system. This is the first year that I feel that way with Trump. I feel that he can buck the system and maybe get it onto its own, maybe somewhat better path.
It's a very different thing when you're in private business than when you come into politics. Trump is a boss, basically. And when he says something, they all say, yes, what do you want, boss? It doesn't work that way when you're the president. Like I said before, if he says it's black, everybody else is going to say, no, it's white. And there's always an argument. We have an adversarial system. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I was going to say almost the same thing Joe said.
The problem is the Congress and the president just don't work together. It's like oil and water. It just doesn't work together for some reason.
No, you're exactly right. And, I will say, it would be absolutely earthquake in proportion if Trump put New York in play. I mean, that would illustrate such a huge shift in politics that it's hard to even describe how huge that would be if Trump can actually put New York into play and make Hillary at least spend money there. And that's why I asked you guys the questions. You're there. I'm very curious to see how Trump is actually playing there.
But the interesting thing is, though, if you go around, it's Joe again. If you go around the city, like I commute 5 hours out of my day to get back and forth to work, to and from.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, you don't really see very much Donald Trump swag. You don't see that. You don't really see the hats. You don't really see the signs. I have actually seen more Hillary stuff than I've seen Trump stuff.
Interesting.
I think because she has to.
Well, of course. I mean, yeah, she's gonna, and plus she was the senator from New York, so she's going to flood. But I at this point, I can see Trump taking New York, but not by a huge margin.
Okay. Well, if he took it at all, I mean, it's just hard to overstate how much of a political earthquake that would be to put New York into play.
Oh, absolutely.
And it would be, it would probably ensure that he was going to have a very big win across the country. And that's, but again, as I try to discuss these issues on my show because people are listening, I'm very curious about you. I think it was you, Joe, who said that you had never really paid that close attention to politics until Trump appeared on the scene.
No, that was Jay.
That was Jay.
Oh,
Jay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was it just a resignation that the system's broken and so why even pay attention to it? Because obviously it does have impact on you. As you look at your paycheck every 2 weeks, you see that gap between your gross pay and your net pay, and you see all these taxes that are taken out. So it's some very basic basis. It does have an impact on your life. Is it just you just conceded to it and said, well, it just is what it is and I can't change it, so I'm not going to pay attention to it. I'm not going to follow it. But then Trump came along and invigorated you some. Am I catching that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I always had that feeling that, when I vote, it doesn't mean nothing. Like, it's not going to change. It's not going to make a difference. Like, I didn't vote for Obama. That was like the first vote I had when his first term came up. That was like the first time I voted for a president since I was 18. I was just and the only reason why was because I got forced to by my family. They're like, go out and vote. And I'm like, oh, all right, fine. And I'm like, but I don't see why, because it doesn't make a difference to me. My vote is not going to change anything. That's how I felt. And then when Trump came out, and I seen, to me, he was like a breath of fresh air. I didn't feel like he was that political robot. I felt like he was the average guy standing up at the podium and just talking to the average guy. It was just like having a conversation with us, like we're having now. That's how I feel Trump comes off. Like he's just the average guy. And to me, it felt like refreshing to see that. It wasn't that typical political robot.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut taxes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then nothing comes about it. I could see Trump saying, listen, this is what I plan on doing, and this is what I'm going to try to push for, and him trying to get it done. I could see him actually going out and doing it.
Yeah. Mark, we have to take a quick break. Can you stick around for another segment?
Oh, sure can.
All right, great.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, this is the On Air Radio Show, broadcasting on the On Air Radio Network and awakeradio.us, and our affiliate with Shaziz Radio. We will be back. We are talking with Mark Kreslins of the Mark Kreslins Show of the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade channel, and we will be right back. Hey, folks, this is Joe Roos from the On Air Radio Show. We're inviting you to listen to the show live every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on onairradionetwork.com and now on awakeradio.us. Check us out. Give us a call at 718-710-4578.
I'm Tom Banks, the CEO of SplashPlay.com, the creators of Trivia with a Purpose. I'm also the author of Indefensible, and I love to listen to On Air Radio Show with Jay and Joe every Thursday on onairradioshow.com.
Hey there, this is TJ Sanfilippo, and I want you to join me as we navigate the River Styx, Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on the OnAirRadioNetwork.com and AwakeRadio.us. Let me be your guide as we traverse forbidden waters of our hidden history, the paranormal, conspiracies, and the bizarre. Until then, keep the candles burning brightly, the lights on, the darkness at bay, and stay safe.
Okay, guys, break time is over. Now let's get back to work. It's the On Air Radio Show live from the dungeon. Only on OnAirRadioshow.com.
Welcome back to the On Air Radio Show. This is Joe Roos. I'm here with Big JP and Joey Drapes, and with our very special guest, Mark Kreslins, on the line. Mark, you still with us? All right, great. We're having an audio thing. All right, there we go. We got it back.
During the break, I happened to, Mark, I just went online and went on the New York Times website. And it says here that Nate Kahn has an article here that says that in order for Trump to pretty much win, he would have to win Florida, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, hold on to North Carolina. That would be like, the key states for him. But then I was reading, as I scrolled down, I started looking, and there was a poll on the New York Times website that I found really interesting. It says, if the election was held tomorrow, who would you vote for? New York Times poll says 49.45% vote for Trump, and Hillary Clinton got 20.52%.
Is that a New York poll?
No, this is New York Times. This is a New York Times poll.
Okay, got it.
And then,
but this is New York, not national, right?
This is New York Times.
Yeah.
This is from their website. And then it said would not vote came out to be 6.7%, would not vote in this election.
I'm one of them.
And then the vote for the third-party candidate, Gary Johnson, was 13%. Which is kind of scary that Gary Johnson is closing the gap on Hillary.
Well,
that is pretty scary.
Well, speaking of polls.
Well, she is struggling, and this is where Republicans are kind of frustrated, as you guys alluded to in the beginning of your show. There's this new propaganda move to try to talk Trump into dropping out. I mean, it's not coming from his camp. It's coming from the RNC. They hate this guy, and they don't want to work with him. And in many ways, that is what makes him all the more appealing, doesn't it? It's the fact that the Republican establishment themselves hate Trump. So that even kind of emboldens the average blue-collar, average Joe worker to say, now I like this guy more. If the establishment hates him, then that must mean he's doing something right. And I think that, there's going to be this full court press to really damage him from the Republican establishment. They may be successful to some degree. The trouble is, and the reason they're so frustrated at having Trump at the helm of the top of their candidate list, is that Hillary is imminently beatable this election cycle. She has her passion index is very low. People are not passionate about Hillary Clinton because there's nothing really there to get passionate about. Right. Her trust level is very low. People believe she is a liar. And so with those kinds of negatives, this should be a shoo-in for the Republican Party. They just hate that it's not going to be, Ted Cruz or John Kasich, people they can control. Instead, it's Donald Trump who they can't control.
But then
they hate it. So,
can I ask you a question? Again, this is Jason. Like I said, I don't really follow politics too much, so I talk for the average person. If the RNC did decide to give Trump the boot, who would they get in replace of him? And would Trump run on a independent ticket?
Well, it's a very complicated process, number one. They really can't boot him at this point because he's fulfilled the rules of the Republican National Convention by getting the appropriate number of delegates to support him. It would have to be him withdrawing. Now, I think they're trying to ease him out or push him out of or talk him into leaving the race. I don't personally think it's in Trump to do it at this point. I think he's kind of a winner and he's going to hang in there to the very end. They're trying to give him they're working in collusion, in my view, with progressive media to try to put a lot of pressure on Trump and damage him, and perhaps that would lead to him voluntarily leaving. So if he held a press conference tomorrow and said, "I'm out, I'm done with this, I'm sick of you people, I'm going to go back and build buildings in New York City," then there's a very complicated process within the RNC related to the it's called the Rules Committee. There's 168 delegates on that Rules Committee, and they would actually be the ones who would appoint the next nominee to represent the Republican Party.
So they wouldn't necessarily go to Ted Cruz, who was basically the runner-up?
No, it wouldn't be Ted Cruz because he's universally hated in Washington, D.C., so it would not be him. Everybody hates this guy. And they would probably go with somebody like a Kasich or more of a moderate-type governing guy. Maybe Rubio comes out of the shadows. And Rubio's got some money, so it would be probably more likely to be him. Kasich never really could raise money, but Rubio raised a ton of money. So when they look at the list of people that could potentially fill a Trump vacancy, one of the first qualifications would be, can this guy raise money? Because it takes a lot of money to run a quote national campaign. So, but Jay, I got to tell you, you're fascinating to me. You're exactly the person I'm trying to talk to on my radio show. You really are.
He should be listening in,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've tried that.
You're the first person to compliment me. Thank you. When it came to politics, because I know nothing. And then I got one last question. Do you feel the general election that Trump has some truth to it, that it is rigged? Do you feel there's any truth to that whatsoever?
It's rigged at one level. It's been rigged for generations now. It's called special interest money that buys congressmen and essentially predict outcomes of elections with great degrees of accuracy. So it's always been rigged by the money that comes, the $4 trillion that they want a slice of. So in that regard, it's always been rigged. Mm-hmm. As far as actual vote counting, Yeah, there's probably going to be some of that. I heard you guys talking in the first part of your show. I think that is kind of Trump also sending out a if I lose, it's rigged kind of answer. Do I think it's possible? Well, there's been, rigged voting for as long as they've been counting ballots. So, yes, it's going to happen this election cycle. Could it happen to the scale that it could actually throw an election? I don't believe that myself, personally.
Mm-hmm.
And if Trump did feel it was rigged, I could definitely see him contesting the
Oh,
votes and having recounts in every state. I could just see it.
And then have it end up going back to the Supreme Court and have another one of those type of elections like we had in 2000.
I just don't see Trump giving up right now, only because he spent all this money, which really wasn't a lot of money, I think, right? Isn't it like something $5 million of his own money or something?
Well, he knows how to use the media and get a lot of free time by making all this controversy. He's constantly on the air, so he gets a lot of publicity.
He gets free publicity. He's not buying any airtime. He hasn't run any TV ads or any radio ads. I haven't seen anything anyway. Hillary's running. I saw a number. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember how many TV ads that she's already had aired. It was a ridiculously astronomical number.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything from him. Yeah. But, Mark, I just want to throw this, we were talking about polls earlier. I got something here. It says, it's from a Fox News poll that says, Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton leading Republican nominee Donald Trump to 49% to 39% among likely voters. Mm-hmm. And it says that while 61% of respondents say they consider Clinton to be dishonest.
Yeah, and that's something.
Isn't that amazing? So she's up by 10%, and yet 61% say that she's dishonest.
He's a crook.
That is just
Doesn't that say something about the culture and why we need to rethink the whole situation and perhaps come up with other solutions to the mess we face?
Absolutely, it's ridiculous. It really is. Mark, we didn't get a chance to really get into the talk about the hashtag American Union, and we didn't really get a chance to talk about some solutions that you promoted on your show, and I agree with you 100%. And that is secession, and that is to break apart this American Union. We are running out of time, though. I was wondering if maybe if you have some time next week, if you'd like to come back on, we can finish this discussion.
Oh, I'd be thrilled to do it, guys. It's been a blast hanging out with my fellow New Yorkers. You're a unique bunch. Even though I recognize I'm kind of the adopted child up there in Syracuse, I still consider myself a New Yorker. But hearing those accents out of the gate, it's like, oh my gosh!
Welcome home, brother.
Welcome home. I'll be glad to come on next week, guys.
Awesome, that'd be great. Like I told you, I'll be trading the New York accent for a Texan accent very soon. So we're excited about that.
Hear that. All right, guys.
Thanks for calling
me on. It's been an honor.
Hey, plug your show,
Thank
brother.
you very much. Yep, give a plug.
Right, see you later, guys.
Plug your show,
by the way, Mark Kreslin's the Mark Kreslin Show on the Veritas Radio Network. VeritasRadioNetwork.com. That's where you'll find me. I broadcast live Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central Time to 8 a.m. Central Time. And I'd love to have any of your listeners join me over there. We talk about real solutions versus sophomoric solutions that are offered by the national parties out there. So,
and I will attest to that because I listen to your show every day, Mark. So
thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
No problem. God bless you. Have a great night.
Thank you, sir.
You too, guys. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
That was Mark Kreslin of the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade Channel, Mark Kreslin Show. You can check him out online also at markkreslins.com. Really great guy. Great guy. Great conversation.
That was a great time there that we had.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is I actually didn't think that I was going to have any questions for him.
Really? Well,
yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I was just sitting and listening and actually absorbing something that somebody said. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and then it just like these questions just started coming in just by listening to him. So for me, I found it very enlightening. Like I said, I'm just the average guy. I don't really follow politics, and I'll say it till I die. But this, just listening to him, it was, it made me want to, get involved in politics a little more, or follow politics a little more just by listening to him.
You should definitely check out his show.
Yeah, maybe I will. I got to get on that one.
Yeah. I'll buy you an app for your phone so you can listen in.
Who knows, Jay? You may be running for president next year.
Oh no, you don't want me as president.
Lord help us. Lord help us.
You don't want me as president.
Well, we'll start you with local office. Maybe like mayor of Staten Island or something like that. Yeah.
Chief bottle washer.
The borough president of Staten Island.
Yeah.
So TJ is texting me. He's having a few issues with his computer. He will probably not be able to call in.
Sorry, TJ.
That's a likely excuse. I think he's just a chicken. He doesn't want to call.
That's right.
He heard this great conversation we've just had. He goes, I ain't calling there.
Tell him to text you his itinerary for the day for the show. Text Joe the itinerary. We'll announce it on our show.
I know he has an interview coming up that he's been really excited to get in, and I think he pre-recorded the interview, so he's going to be playing that during the course of the show. So that's
Very nice.
looking forward to it. So we obviously didn't talk about a few things, but
Joe, a little air, Joe.
Yes, please put the air on.
I'm dying.
Yes. Yeah, we are sweating to death.
I'm
Joe's letting us know that our time in the studio is coming to an end and we have to get out of here. He's sweating us out.
That's it.
But
and what's worse is when you're fat,
Well,
you
said
sweat
you had to
even
lose
more.
weight, right?
You
I'm
sweat
helping.
twice as much than this skinny guy.
I'm helping.
Good Lord.
Joe's
Who needs a gym? Just hang out down here.
Joe's converting the studio into a sauna.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. So just a couple of quick things, Jay.
Yeah.
Did you know that the police commissioner resigned today?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. He took
it was yesterday. He
took a position in the private sector,
Yeah.
as they say. Similar to from what I heard, it's similar to his position that he's in now.
Yeah.
I just found it kind of odd that he abruptly quit.
Oh, don't you know what's going on, man? De Blasio.
It's the
Blasio is
Bozo debacle.
There's going to be a big blowout over there. De Blasio will probably be indicted. He left ship.
He's
because,
another crook.
Yeah, exactly.
All politicians are crooked.
Well, in looking up these things, I found something very interesting online.
Okay.
Yes, because it came from the internet. We must believe.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. This is just,
I'm just kidding.
It's just an opinion piece. Asking a question: did Black Lives Matter just oust NYPD's police chief? It says one day after Black Lives Matter's protesters attempted to occupy New York City's City Hall Park, one of their central demands was met with the resignation of Police Commissioner Bill Bratton. Tuesday, the group can claim a victory in its effort to transform policing in America's largest city. It goes on about the protests and so on and so forth.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but De Blasio consulted Al Sharpton.
Yes.
On who to pick for. I mean, Al Sharpton,
race baiter in chief.
the most racist guy in New York, picking out a police commissioner. Yeah. I mean, that's got to tell you where this administration is at.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, folks, this is the On Air Radio Show. Why don't you give us a call? We have 10 more minutes left of the show. It's 718-710-4578.
That's right.
I'm going to say this. I'm not a race person,
Dude, just cut me off again.
No, because you know what? I wanted to say it after you read your little piece there.
Yeah.
I'm not a racial person. I don't look at skin color as, my issue in life or anything like that, or, but, and if it comes off as a racial way, I apologize, but the problem is De Blasio's a black lover. No, not to be disrespectful, but his kid is black.
I get you.
His wife is black. So he got rid of stop and frisk because it was quote unquote offensive to the black people.
Well,
to me, that was when we had stop and frisk and it was done correctly.
Yeah.
We even had Michael Riley here, and he said it worked.
Yeah,
the crime rate was low.
Yeah.
And here he is. He's doing everything he can. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be racial or make it a racial thing. He is trying to help build and try to uprise with the black people. And I get that because, black people might have been held down for all these years.
Let me tell you something. He's the blackest mayor we've had since Dinkins. He's probably more black.
He's the blackest white mayor since Dinkins.
Well, he's like many New York liberals. They actually bend over backwards not to be racist. So they actually go the opposite way. If you know what I mean, they go to the extreme of where they actually become white haters in a sense, quote unquote. And this is what we've got with De Blasio,
right.
And it's really kicking him in the face.
I know it might have came off the wrong way, and I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm just putting that out there. I am sorry if it came off the wrong way. I don't know how to phrase it, but if you lived in New York, you'd see it.
Sure.
In the way he acts. he doesn't want to give cops a raise. He wants to, take away most of their power, if not all of their power.
Well, it's such
I mean, it's just the stupid things that he does, and going out and supporting the Black Lives Movement as opposed to going out and supporting the people who make you safe every day.
Well, we're probably going to have a law and order candidate come in after De Blasio.
So,
I mean, the same thing happened with Dinkins. When Dinkins,
I think Eric Trump is going to run.
Yeah, well, you don't laugh.
No, I'm being serious.
When Dinkins was in, New York law and order went out the window.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it went out the window. There were riots.
It was like martial law.
Absolutely.
Out here.
But who came in after that? Giuliani.
Yep.
Giuliani was a law and order guy. He stopped all that crap right away.
Stop and frisk.
Well, you had and quite a bit of other things. And Al Sharpton wasn't even allowed in the building.
Yeah.
Now I understand the need for an Al Sharpton. You do need these radicals sometimes just to keep people in line. Somebody has to be the voice of that community.
And I get that, but you know what? Where's and please, I don't mean to be disrespectful again when I say this, but where is the voice of the white man?
Well, the voice of the white
man has no voice.
We have our voices.
Who?
Well,
who do we turn to?
We're not radical in
right,
our
but
sense.
who do we turn to, Joe? The black person has Al Sharpton, or who's the other guy? Jesse Jackson, who fell off the earth about 15 years ago.
He's getting old now.
But they have somebody to go to.
Yeah.
They have the NAACP. They have these things that they can go to speak for them. But we can't.
Well,
if we speak or we had somebody speak for us, we're racist.
Your point that you're missing is the white race, us, are considered not oppressed. So we don't need an Al Sharpton, basically, quote unquote. I'm not that I'm disagreeing with you, but this is the view of many people. We don't need an Al Sharpton. The oppressed people, the oppressors, need an Al Sharpton.
Listen, I'm white and I'm oppressed. I'll be the first to tell you. I am the most oppressed white person there could possibly be. I'm a guy who's got cancer and half blind and can't get any assistance from anybody out there.
This is the point.
Why? Because my wife makes too much money.
That's right. And
really.
And not to sound racist again, you're the wrong color.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, but we have to start wrapping up this conversation.
Yeah. I know. I want to go to our new segment.
We have a new segment now.
Okay. Yes.
We're going to do that, and then we have to get ready to go because we have TJ waiting in the wings.
So we'll go brief through these topics.
I will
let you lead it in.
Well, for next week, we have to come up with some kind of intro music for this.
Oh yes, definitely.
All right, maybe like Benny Hill music or something. because folks, we have this here. This is now we're calling this segment the Parent of the Week, where we're going to try to find one outstanding parent in the news and bring their story to light.
Oh.
Unfortunately,
we couldn't just find one.
We couldn't just find one this week. We found three.
We're starting off with a bang.
Right.
We got three.
So I saw you pulled up one on the screen.
I got one.
Let's start with that one because I have printouts. I don't have screens, so I don't know if I have the right article up. So this first one coming up here will be talked about by our good friend Jay, and you have to do it in like 2 minutes.
All right. This one I loved. I heard this on the radio and just kind of like it just grabbed me because this is just totally absurd. A woman in Oklahoma was arrested Saturday after she said she mixed apple vodka with baby formula and gave it to her infant child. What? Monique Bibbs, 36, was booked for child neglect.
Oh, God.
Bibbs allegedly partied the previous evening and filled up a water bottle with apple vodka. She said when she came home, she put the bottle in her fridge. The next morning, police said Bibb accidentally mixed the baby formula with the alcohol, mistaking it for water.
Okay.
Supposedly, the doctors said the baby had a 0.19 blood alcohol content level.
What? Baby's okay? I mean, the baby's okay?
The baby's fine. They said the baby's still in. It was, she brought the hospital. Supposedly, I had read another article. What happened was she said the baby ate 4 ounces of the formula and wouldn't take the rest. She noticed something was wrong when the baby smelled of alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, there's a clue for you, lady. Your kid smells like alcohol.
At least that was an accident. I mean, it's a horrible thing, of course, but it was an accident. It really wasn't deliberate. Some of these people deliberately are weird.
We got the music. All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I mean, that's just a shame that this poor kid. How old was the baby? I didn't find that one out. Was it? I
3 month old.
3 month old. Okay,
3 month old baby.
Oh God.
Nice. All right, on to the next story of the day. We have
Unreal.
Fox News reports that let's see, parents accused of leaving 2-year-old alone so they can go do what?
Play Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
I heard that. So, do you believe that? Where is their brains on these people?
An Arizona couple was arrested after they allegedly left their 2-year-old son home alone for up to 90 minutes to play Pokemon Go. I don't have my glasses on, and the print's very small in this. But 90 minutes to go play Pokemon Go.
Oh, God.
And the child was 2 years old. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Where are your priorities, people?
Unreal.
Where are your priorities? When the couple returned home, deputies say they admitted to leaving their son asleep inside their home near Chandler Heights, and while they played Pokemon Go in a nearby neighborhood. Nice.
I have
Wonderful.
a quick one for you. I found this earlier today.
Some people shouldn't have children. They really shouldn't.
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. A 2-year-old boy was found alone in a vehicle on Sunday, suffering from heat exhaustion. The mother went into the grocery store, parked the car, and left the 2-year-old in it with the windows cracked. Supposedly, the boy's temperature was 102 degrees when taken to the hospital.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
I mean, come on, people, really?
So we actually have four now.
Yeah, I saw this before I left the house. I forgot.
All right. So, and here's
my favorite. This one's great. Go ahead,
the
Joe.
last one for the night. A man accused in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
This is just wrong.
of trying to flush his baby down the toilet. Yes, you heard it right. Parent of the week. The full nod goes to the man who tried to flush his baby down a toilet. A man tried to drown his 6-week-old son, 6-week-old, in flushing a toilet during an armed domestic dispute that led to a SWAT standoff, Pittsburgh police said on Tuesday. Dennis Gately, 31, was in custody awaiting arraignment on charges including aggravated assault against the infant, endangering child welfare, and illegally possessing a firearm. And he was also charged with assault and threatening to kill others in the house, so on and so forth.
Is there a charge flushing your child? Giving a swirly to the kid?
I don't know.
Good Lord.
Could you imagine calling the plumber saying, "Excuse me, there's a child stuck in my toilet." Get the plunger or something.
Folks, you just can't
Joe,
make this
that
stuff.
was the line of the night.
Beautiful. You just can't.
Rhoda.
You just can't make this stuff up, man. You really can't. You really, really can't. And, folks, this is the On Air Radio Show, and we'll be back next week with another edition of Parents of the Week.
Hope you like this segment, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the On Air Radio Show. We enjoy what we do. We love bringing it to you, letting you guys listen. We appreciate it. You can hear us on the On Air Radio Network. You can hear us on Awake Radio US.
Yes, don't go away. There's a show coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. Peace out. Joey.
Folks, thanks for tuning in, and tune in next week to check out Mark Kreslin's as we continue our conversation. In the meantime, stay tuned for Navigating the River Styx with TJ Sanfilippo. Until then, good night, goodbye.
Peace!